Now let's take a look at how airports are shown on a sectional chart, and to do that let's take a look at figure 22. Let's start off by taking a look at Garrison Dam here, and you notice there's a little red circle, and that little red circle is a basic symbol for an airport. That tells you they have an airport right there, and that's Garrison Dam. Now let's go over to Evanston Airport, and you notice that you have the little red circle for an airport, but there's an R inside that little red circle. That R tells you it's a private airport or a restricted airport. That simply means that somebody owns that airport. You're going to have to get permission before you land there, and that's that little R inside the airport symbol. Now let's take a look at Garrison Airport, and when you see Garrison Airport, they've got a little red circle, but they've added another symbol, and that's a symbol for a hard surface runway at least 1,500 feet in length. They'll show you roughly how long that runway is and what direction it points, so you have almost a picture of the runway there, and that's a hard surface runway at least 1,500 feet in length. Now let's take a look at the lower left-hand corner of the page and see if you and I can't find Mercer County Regional Airport. And here it is, and you can see that Mercer County Regional Airport also has a hard surface runway at least 1,500 feet in length. But we have a new wrinkle here. There are tick marks on the top, bottom, and sides of the airport symbol. What do those little tick marks tell you? They tell you the airport is supposed to have fuel. The reason I say supposed to have fuel is the FBO could always be out of fuel. They might be closed for the day or something of that sort, but they're supposed to have fuel service, and that's what those tick marks are all about. We looked at Garrison Airport earlier. Garrison Airport, you know, didn't have those tick marks, so you couldn't count on getting fuel there. Now let's take a look at Minot Airport. Up here at the top of the page up here is Minot Airport, and they do have those tick marks on the top and bottom and sides of the airport symbol. These little tick marks tells you the airport has fuel. Now, wait a minute, we have a new wrinkle here. The airport symbol is blue, not red. What does that mean? Well, the blue tells you they have a control tower, and the CT and a frequency up here tells you the frequency of the control tower. In this case, it's 118.2. That little star tells you the operation of the control tower is not continuous. It's not a 24-hour control tower. One other thing we need to take a look at, I said there's a tick mark on the top of the symbol. In this case, we don't. We see don't have it. We see a star instead. What does that star mean? Well, that star means when they have it, that they have a rotating beacon. And a rotating beacon is a light that sits on top of a tall tower that rotates around. One time you'll see a white light, another time you'll see a green light. If you see an alternating white and green light like that, that tells you that's a civilian field. If, on the other hand, you see a rotating beacon and instead of alternating white and green, you see two whites and green, white, white, green, white, white, green, the FAA calls that dual peaked white flashes or two quick flashes. Anytime you see those two quick flashes of white like that alternating with green, that tells you it's a military airport, or what the FAA calls a military error station. And what that means to you as a pilot is if you land in an airport that has this kind of rotating beacon, you're going to have a very time-consuming and stressful situation shortly after landing because you just landed at a military airport, probably without permission. Now let's assume today that you are a helicopter pilot. You're flying along in your helicopter. It's getting a little bit dark and you would like to land. Well, you could land at any airport, but also as a helicopter pilot, you could land at a heliport. So you look for a rotating beacon for a heliport, and this is what you're going to see. You'll see white and green with yellow in between, so it's white, green, and yellow, and you know that's a heliport. Now, if you happen to be in an airplane, do not attempt to land when you see this rotating beacon. Now, we said earlier when an airport has a control tower, you can tell by the airport symbol being blue and CT and a frequency. Let's confirm that. Let's take a look at figure 26, area 2, and let's take a look at Addison Airport. And the question is, what is the frequency for the control tower at Addison? Well, that's going to be pretty easy. They have the airport symbol that's blue. We know they have a control tower. It says CT, and then it tells you the frequency. So the frequency for Addison County Airport is 126.0. Now let's take a look at figure 21, and when you get to figure 21, we'll take a look at area 2 and Chesapeake Municipal Airport. And they're going to ask you a question about Chesapeake Municipal Airport, and that question will be, what is the elevation of this airport? Well, the elevation is shown just right after the airport identifier, just before lights, and here it is. The elevation of this airport is 20 feet. Now let me ask you a question. Is this airport located on the ground or above the ground? You got it right. It's located on the ground. So it can't be 20 feet above ground level, or AGL. It's got to be 20 feet above sea level, and the term for that is MSL. Whenever they ask you the elevation of something, they're asking you how high it is above sea level, and this airport is 20 feet MSL.